royal architectural complexes were built in the east, which almost always included a residential area, a mosque, ancillary buildings, and the baths. The Andalusian baths were comparable to the house of ablutions or the place for daily ritual cleansing. They were a center for religious, therapeutic, and social activities. Many public baths were the property of the mosques, which used them as a source of revenue. Men and women had different visiting times, women usually attending once or twice a month. The baths were also important centers for building relations. The architectural plan of Andalusian baths consisted of the Bayat al-Maslaj, the entrance and changing room, the Bayat al-Barid, or cold room, the Bayat al-Bastani, or warm room, and the Bayat al-Sakhun, or hot room. These establishments, which could be royal, public, or private baths, reflected the prestige of a city. The more baths, the more important the city. The case of Córdoba under the Umayyads, the political and administrative capital of Al-Andalus, is the best example of flourishing urban design. A city which, according to Arabic texts, could have had up to 1 million inhabitants in the 10th century and had over 300 baths, rising to 600 at the beginning of the 11th century. Arabic sources tell how in the 9th century, in the times of Abd al-Rahman II, there were royal baths in the Alcázar of Córdoba. However, the oldest remains of Cordoban baths, which still exist today, date back to the caliphate period in the 10th century and are to be found in Medina, Afara. Other public baths in Córdoba are the Taifa baths in San Basilio, the Almoravide baths of San Pedro, and the 13th century baths in the Pescaderia district. The tradition of Arabic baths was conserved in the Christian Córdoba of the late medieval period, a time in which the Mudéjar baths of Lady Leonor were built in the Christian Alcázar. The Caliph's baths belonged to the Umayyad Alcázar, the residence of the emirs, caliphs, and the seat of the governors, until the conquest of Córdoba by Fernando III el Santo in 1236. They are located in the Campo Santo de los Mártires, a space which grew out of the Campillo del Rey, the name given to the parade ground created by Alfonso XI in front of the new Christian Alcázar in 1328. To construct it, the ground level was filled, raising it by 4 meters to cover the old Umayyad Alcázar. In the baths of the Caliph's Alcázar, we can find 3 well-differentiated zones, corresponding to alterations made at different times. The Caliph's baths to the east, a reception hall from the Taifa period, and the Almohadi baths to the west. Caliph's baths, there is a portico, a changing room, cold, warm, and hot rooms, as well as a boiler, firewood store, and service areas. The route through the baths was winding, so that the main rooms were kept out of direct sight from outside. In the vestibule, the bathers disrobed, receiving towels, sandals, and other accessories for bodily care. Next to the vestibule was a latrine and a passageway to the right leading to other areas of the palace. The route continued to the cold room, where there was a ritual of prayers and bodily hygiene. The war room was the most richly decorated zone, and was covered by vaults supported on arches and columns. Its walls were plastered and painted. This is where the caliphs spent most time, receiving daily cosmetic and hygiene treatment, such as massage, shaving, and hair care. The next room was the hot room, which was rectangular with two side rooms which gave access to two bathing pools. It was covered by a vault and decorated with geometric motifs. Underneath this room ran the hypocaust, or underfloor heating system, and the chimneys from the furnaces ran through the walls. In this way, both the floor and the walls helped to heat up the air in the room. This room was the scene of tragic events during the civil war which finally ended the caliphate, such as the assassinations in 1018 and 1024 of the caliphs Ali ibn Hamud and Abd al-Rahman V. The furnace was located between the two pools of water in the hot room, and the pipework and hypocaust beneath the hot room are still preserved to this day. Above the furnace was the great bronze boiler. As an element linking the caliphate and Almohade baths, we find a porticoed hall with a fountain before it, which looked out over a garden. This portico gave access to the reception hall, which had already been built by the 11th century during the Taifa period in Seville. Abundant plasterwork has been found here dating back to the Taifa, Almoravide, and Almohade periods, giving us an idea of how long this space was used during the 11th and 12th centuries. This hall was flanked by two small side rooms, one of which led to the 12th century baths, and the other gave direct access to the firewood store. In the 12th century, under the rule of the Almohades, new royal baths were built, reusing the side room of the hall as a vestibule, and keeping the old furnace in use. From the vestibule, bathers accessed the cold room on one side and the warm room on the other. The cold room was quadrangular with a brick walkway and a central pool decorated with tiles. From here, bathers passed onto a small room which may have been used as a rest area, and which also gave access to a latrine, which still has the limestone slab which served as a seat. The warm room of the Almohade baths was divided into two communicating spaces. The first was a rectangular room with a half-barrel vault and star-shaped skylights. The second was a quadrangular room which even today conserves the original marble flooring, and which was covered by an arras vault. Next was the hot room, another rectangular room with half-barrel vaults at the sides and star-shaped skylights. There was a pool for bathing on the eastern side, which was altered during the Christian period in the 13th century. The baths of the Caliphs Alcázar are just a small part of the immense archaeological heritage dating back to the Umayyad period in Córdoba, the old capital of Al-Andalus. A fine example of palace architecture in the service of the Caliphs, and a model that was to be followed by the builders of Arabic baths for centuries to come.